judgment, just real talk. This is the Apology Accepted podcast. The views expressed on the Apology Accepted podcast are those of the host and guest and do not reflect the views of any affiliate organization or individual. The content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. For personal, legal, or emotional matters, please consult a qualified professional. By continuing to listen to this podcast, you acknowledge and accept this disclaimer. Hey friends, welcome back to the Apology Accepted podcast, the space where we dive into real conversations about healing, growth, and creating a life we deserve. I am your host, LaTesha Monique, and I am so grateful to have you tune in to this episode. Whether you're tuning in for the first time or you are a returning listener, I am so glad you're here. This space is for you, friend. You are not a burden. I want to talk about something that a lot of us carry quietly. This whole belief that we're too much, that our feelings are inconvenient, or that our needs make us a burden to others. If you've ever apologized for crying, okay, or apologized for needing help, for taking up space even, this episode is for you, because I want you to know something deep in your spirit. You are not a burden. You are human and your needs are valid. So today, we're rewriting that shame script. The one that's been telling you that you are too emotional, too sensitive, too needy. Let's talk about where that message comes from, how it shows up in our lives, and how we can begin to change it. All right? So, of course, I have my 3 talking points, my old faithful 3. Okay. So, understanding where, quote, the burden story comes from. A lot of us were taught directly or indirectly that having needs was something to be ashamed of. Maybe you grew up in a home where emotions weren't safe. Like you couldn't really show emotions. You didn't really have a safe space for your emotions. Where you were told to stop crying, be strong, or don't make things harder. Like, those were not safe spaces, believe it or not. Maybe you were always the strong one, the caretaker, the peacekeeper. That was me. I was always the strong one, the caretaker, the peacekeeper. Always wanted it to be peace. Let that be peace. The one who held everyone up, but never had the space to fall apart yourself. Like, have you ever just had to be so strong for everyone around you where it put you in position where you could not fall apart if needed be? I shouldn't say if needed be, when need be. And when that becomes normal, we start believing that needing help equals weakness, that asking for support means we're being too much. But that's not the truth. That's trauma. And we are so comfortable with operating in our trauma. There was a time in my life when I didn't want to call anyone when I was struggling. I'll tell myself, they have enough going on. I don't want to bother them. I am answering the question without even asking whoever the question. But what I was really saying was, I don't believe my pain deserve attention. That's what I was really saying. I was saying, you know what I'm going through, it really don't deserve attention. Let me just keep going. Let me just be strong. Let me just, keep going and don't worry about it. And this too shall pass. All the things we tell ourselves to keep going, right? And I remember one time having a conversation with my sister. She helped me realize, she said, you can't answer for me. You don't know what I have the ability to do if you don't ask. And if I don't have the ability to do it, I'm going to say, girl, I cannot. But you never know if you don't ask, and you can't answer for me, right? And so I kind of sat with that thing like, girl, please, I know you can't help me. And so the question was, well, how do you know if you didn't even ask? You did not ask. And the reason why I did not ask is because I strongly felt like my pain did not deserve the attention. See, let's not bring attention to what I'm going through. Let me just continue to help everybody else in what they're going through. And that's the reason why most of us feel like we're just a burden when now we are falling apart, right? And we feel like people are just so used to seeing us so strong where we can't even fall apart. We can't fall apart. We don't have the space to fall apart. Who are we going to fall apart to? Because we're too busy helping everybody else stand up straight. So now we limping, we leaning, we bending. But who sees that? How? When we never show this. And this goes back to maybe growing up in a home where your emotions were not safe. You have an emotion and now you need to cry. You were told, stop crying. Right? Whether that was getting a beat down. I know, we supposed to say spankings, but my mom will beat you down. Okay? I got beatings. I didn't get spankings. And then have the audacity to say, don't cry. Well, it hurt. What am I supposed to do with this emotion? That was probably a poor choice of example. But anyway. Or don't make things harder. Well, what does that mean? I feel the way I feel, and I'm entitled to my emotion, but I have to hold it and keep it because I'm afraid I may make the situation, somebody else's situation, harder. Like, all of this goes back to how we were raised and who we were raised with. So I pose this question to you all. When did you first start feeling like your emotions were too much? And who taught you that needing help wasn't okay? And are they still someone you have to listen to today? So answer that question to yourself, not to me. You don't have to share that. But to yourself, answer those questions. Now let's get into your needs, because your needs are valid. They are not inconvenient. Your needs do not make you a problem. They make you real. Needing love, comfort, understanding, or rest doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're alive. You are actually alive. And this is why you need these things. Some of us grow up apologizing for existing. Like we say, sorry for everything. What? Why are you sorry for everything? For taking too long to reply, for speaking up, for needing space. But what if we stop apologizing for being human? I remember when me and my husband first started dating, okay? And I was telling a story, and I remember saying sorry to him just because I was feeling the emotion of the story, and tears. My eyes got really watery and tears started flowing. And I was crying. And I was literally apologizing for having emotions in front of someone who cared about me. That moment right there opened my eyes because I realized how deeply I've been conditioned to believe that my feelings were a burden instead of an invitation to connection. And by this time, the tears has already left my eyeballs. So it was no going back at that point. And I remember thinking like, oh, I am showing signs of weakness right now. But in that moment, this guy just looked at me and said, it will be okay. And I remember him bringing me close, like grabbing me and bringing me close to him and just giving me a hug. And we kind of sat in a moment of just our arms around each other for what felt like hours, okay? And it was no talking, it was no nothing. It was just us standing with our arms wrapped around each other. And he allowed me this peaceful space to just be emotional, if that's what I needed to be. And that's when I knew that, first of all, I've been holding on to a lot. So that's first. I did realize that. I realized that then. I have been just holding stuff. When you start to see your needs as worthy, you start giving yourself permission to be cared for. But you got to first see your need as worthy. And I didn't see that at first. And so I couldn't be cared for properly. But once I started to see my needs as worthy, then, I was able to start giving myself permission to be cared for properly, where when my husband, well, we were dating at the time, but when he allowed me that space to be vulnerable, I embraced that space versus saying, oh, no, I'm good, and wiping my face. I'm good. I'm an OG. I'm good. I didn't do that. And I allowed myself to be cared for in that moment. When people value your needs and your emotions, and they allow you to have this space of vulnerability, allow that space to happen. Allow yourself to be in that moment where you can now let these burdens go. Because that person is saying, hey, I want to provide this safe space for you. And you will know if that person is sincere or not, because vibes are everything. You will know. And if you come across someone that allows you that, then be in that space. Definitely. Definitely be in that space so you don't have to continue to hold on. It's just like when someone says, how you doing? And sometimes you can ask somebody that and they can like emotionally vomit all over you. Like, I mean, whole life story and all the traumas. But then you have some people will say, well, how are you doing? And the answer is, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. That was my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, it don't matter what she was going through. If you ever asked her how she was doing, she always said, I'm fine. Like, I mean, she had a leg amputated. She was doing dialysis 3 times a week. She endured 2 heart attacks, like 2 strokes, like, and you just be like, well, how you doing? And she like, I'm fine. And I think her wording was more spiritual, where it was like, I am here another day, so I will not complain. But when we have those moments of someone giving us permission to be cared for, then allow yourself to be in that space. So, of course, I have questions. And so my question is, do you find yourself apologizing for things that don't even need an apology? Because what are we apologizing for? I mean, this is the Apology Accepted podcast. So whatever you're apologizing for, your apology has been accepted. Okay? I have stamped it. But do you find yourself apologizing for things that don't even need an apology? Another question is, what will it look like if you believe that your needs mattered just as much as everyone else's? And when I say everyone else's, I mean partners, I mean children, I mean parents, I mean siblings, I mean best friends, all these people. What would it look like if you believe that your needs mattered just as much as theirs? What does that look like to you? Do you even know? It's okay, because we are rewriting the shame script. All right? The truth is, the "you're a burden" story is a lie that shame tells. And shame only survives in silence. We know that, right? Once you start speaking your truth over yourself, that story loses power. You can rewrite it by changing the words you speak to yourself. And it's that simple. Instead of, I'm too emotional, say, my emotions are valid. Instead of, I don't want to bother anyone. That's my favorite thing. I don't want to bother anyone. Say, it's okay to reach out for support, because that's what we're doing. We're reaching out for support. And you allow the person to say they don't have the time, or they'll get back with you, or whatever the case may be. Instead of, I should have handled this alone. I don't know if anybody ever said that, but I know, like, sometimes I may have reached out for, I'm saying support, right? Because we not reaching out to bother no one. We reaching out for support. So it's been times where I've reached out for support, and then after reaching out, getting off the phone, or, back into a space where I'm by myself, I might have, just thought to myself, I should have handled this alone. So I've said that a couple of times. But instead of saying that, let's say I'm allowed to be supported. I am allowed to have people support me. Yes. So we're going to try these things. We're going to try changing our words, changing how we speak to ourselves. Healing starts when you stop apologizing for existing and start accepting that you are worthy. Not when you've done more, earned more, or proved more, but right now, just as you are worthy. Whether you are sitting with an empty bank account, whether you are sitting with a negative bank account. If you're sitting with a negative bank account, come on over here and sit by me, because I'm negative. Anyway, it be too much. I be too much sometimes, Lord. Whether you've failed at a test, failed on doing something right on the job, it don't matter. It don't matter. As you listen to the Apology Accepted podcast right now, as you are worthy. I had to learn to rewrite my own script through grace, through prayer, therapy, and even community. I have definitely been on my spiritual journey, and it has been hard. Like, I don't ever remember anybody telling me that, your spiritual journey will be hard. Like, to be honest, Christianity looked like, to me, in my opinion, so don't come for me. In my opinion, Christianity looked like the easiest religion to follow. I'm not saying that's why I'm following it. I ain't gonna say that. But it did look like the easiest religion to follow. And on my journey, I knew I wanted to heal differently. I knew I wanted to heal for real and not just jump on the bandwagon of saying healing as a popular word. I knew I had to put in some work. And I knew I had to do it differently than what I've been doing. And so, prayer, therapy, community. And when I say community, I am really speaking of specific people that knew me before I started this journey, this mental health and spiritual journey, and they still rock with me right now. So it was not overnight that I learned to rewrite my own script. It was not overnight. It took time to unlearn the idea that I had to be the strong one at all times. But the more I allow myself to be seen, messy, emotional, and honest, the more peace I found. Because the people who truly love me will never see my need as a burden. So I want to say that to you, okay? People that truly love you will never see your need as a burden. Unless now let's talk about this real quick. Just real quick. We do have some needy folks, okay? And I'm not talking about those folks. And I don't have to go deep into that because you already know what I'm talking about, right? I'm not talking about that nor them, okay? So come back to me. The people who truly love you will never see your needs as a burden. And of course, with that, I got questions. I got questions, and you have answers. So answer this. What's one lie you've believed about your worth that you're ready to rewrite today? Come on now, you got to rewrite it today. What's one lie you've believed about your worth that you're ready to rewrite today? And another question is, what new truth do you want to replace with it? What new truth do you want to replace with it? Because it has to be replaced, right? Because we're rewriting the script. And we are rewriting this script through grace, through prayer, through therapy, and community. So we got to replace it with something. And let's replace the lie that we believed about our worth with the truth. Let's replace it. Y'all ready to replace it? I want to hear about this one. You guys have to share this one with me. Whether you send me a message through Facebook, whether you have my personal phone number and you able to shoot me a message, a text message, whether you want to email me at lmspeaks, SPEAKS, @gmail.com. You can send me a message on YouTube. You can send me a message on Spotify. I don't care how you have to get the message to me. I want to hear about this. Why? Because, sis, you are not a burden. You are not too much. You are a whole, worthy human being with feelings and needs, and you don't have to apologize for that. Your presence is a gift, your honesty is strength, and your needs, they are holy reminders that you were never meant to carry life alone. So today, speak this over yourself. I am not too much. I am enough. My needs are valid, and I am worthy of care. Because the more you believe that, the more you start showing up as your full, unfiltered, unapologetic self. I hate saying that word, unapologetic. Y'all know what I mean. Self. And your healing will continue. As we close out this episode, I just want to remind you that faith doesn't always erase the feelings of being too much. But it does remind us that we're created with purpose, on purpose. Your emotions, your needs, and your heart are not mistakes. They are reminders that you're human and that you matter. Holding on when it feels heavy isn't easy, but it's often in those moments that we discover the strength we didn't know we had and the grace that carries us forward. My hope is that you walk away from today's episode with a little more peace, a little more compassion for yourself, and the truth that you're not a burden. Thank you for tuning in to the Apology Accepted podcast. If this episode spoke to you, if it reminded you that it's okay to take up space, to feel deeply, and to ask for what you need. Please share this with someone who might need that same encouragement and that same reminder. Until next time, keep believing, keep healing, and remember, even when you feel unseen or unheard, your voice matters, your story matters, and you also matter. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Apology Accepted podcast. I hope today's conversation sparked some growth for you. Be sure to subscribe and share with others who might need this reminder too. Until next time, you all, remember, healing starts with a simple apology. Take care.